Hello all. You might be on mute. There you go. Somebody's on. Hello.
Hello, you guys hear us?
We do. Welcome.
All righty.
Thank you for agreeing to talk to us today.
You can, yeah, if you do that, it'll shut down again.
Hey, is the video choppiness on our end or yours?
I don't know. I can see you just fine.
Okay, I got an idea. Hey, we need to move downstairs to be closer to the.
Why don't you try it first, see if it's our side.
What do you mean try it first? Hey, we're gonna try to move to a spot to closer to the router. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
She's not moving, so I mean.
Is that a little better?
Good morning.
Is that a little better for you? Morning, Chad.
Let's be her side.
Good morning.
Gina, we're going to have a short 5-10 minutes with one of our members about our global grants, and then we're going to bring you on. So just so you know, we'll have you on about 12:15, 12:20.
Okay.
All right, sounds good.
And I know she's still chopping. Because he's not.
All right, yeah. Hey, just so you know, on our side,
You can use Karen.
Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're
Yes.
choppy. You're kind of choppy on our screen. I mean, very choppy.
And the gentleman's.
But the other gentleman
Okay.
is not. We can hear and see
Yeah,
him just
Karen.
fine.
Well, it's probably my
It's Karen's internet connection, but you guys sound good to me, and you don't sound choppy. How do I sound to you? Good?
You sound good.
Yeah, top notch. No problems.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, you guys sound good. Look clear. Everything should be good.
All right. Hey, in our presentation, is it okay if we show like 2 30-second video clips of our volunteer work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have you tested the screen sharing? Have you tested that sharing yet, Karen?
That's kind of why I was asking. Can I give it a shot now?
It's available.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and test it now. Not seeing
All right. Are you guys able to see that?
No. I think you'll still need to do share my screen
Okay.
and then start your video.
Okay.
Somebody pick it. Do you want to do the Zoom for this one?
No.
Because then you could share it, and we can pull that up over here.
1 second.
If you push Zoom.
All right. Hold on a second. This is.
Obviously. Sharing your screen.
Okay, now we can see your screen.
All right. How's that video look?
I can see the video. I don't have any audio.
Yeah, I turned the audio off. That's fine.
Okay. Yep. The
And,
video
and that
looks
was
good.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, let's hope that works when we need it to work.
Okay.
All right.
Hi, Chad.
There we go.
Hi.
Screen share still on.
We have a a full meeting today. It's 12:01, and I would imagine that we're going to continue to admit some members here as the meeting goes on. But initially, welcome everyone to the November 30th meeting of the Rotary Club of Ames. I would ask that you all take a moment, if you can, and stand, and we will virtually recite our Pledge of Allegiance. Before we even do the welcome song, there it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And then, as we usually do during our meetings, we have a fine representative of our music committee unmute themselves and serenade us with our welcome song. This will be to all of our members, to our visitors, to our guests, and our program presenters. So I'm going to ask that John Christie unmute himself and start us off with a welcome song.
Thanks, Chad. To all our guests and visitors, welcome to you from Ames Rotary, Naveda, London, or Gay Paris, from far off lands or the USA. We're glad that you are here today. Come back again whenever you're near. Join us and then we'll make it clear. Around the world you will always be welcome at Rotary.
Thank you, John. Awesome, as always. At this point in time, I am not aware of any club members or affiliates that we need to offer a special thought or moment of silence and prayer for. If anyone on the call is aware of such a person, please unmute yourself and let us know.
Chad, I know that the Centennial Committee is aware, but the full club may not be aware that Carol Custer's mom passed. It's been over a week ago out in San Francisco. Carol has been back and forth, and so I think we should hold her in our thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff. I knew that we were aware, but I know that that's challenging when your mother lived a half a country away. So we certainly hold Carol Custer up in our thoughts and prayers today. Are there any other members or anyone else? Let's just take a moment. All right, thank you. And I wanted to start the meeting off right with the Pledge of Allegiance, the welcome song, and appropriately a thought for those who need an extra thought or prayer. But right now, I just got to take a moment and say, how about them Cyclones? How about them Cyclones? What an awesome day for Cyclone America, all across America, the Cyclone faithful. And we're hopeful that we can continue that this Saturday with a victory over West Virginia as well. And it's too bad and it's unfortunate that we're in a COVID impacted year. I think that does water down some of the in-person excitement, but just want to make sure a shout out to the Cyclone football team and their accomplishments. And I would like to offer Jeff Johnson an opportunity here to unmute himself. As you know, Jeff is heading up our Centennial Celebration Committee, and Jeff has a couple of announcements related to our celebration.
Thank you, Chad. And I'll start out by saying you see a slide that's in front of you. If you were to remove the welcome to thee and just look at the Rotary Club of Ames, as well as our Rotary logo, and then a theme for our centennial year, which has been adopted by the Centennial Committee. And before I go into this, I do want to take time to thank the Centennial Committee This has been an awkward way to plan, as all of you know. With COVID, we're doing everything via Zoom and also pivoting as we need to. And so I'm going to go ahead and let you know that one of our big changes is that we will still do a program on March 1st, but we will probably not do our Rotary Centennial celebration on March 1st due to the state of COVID currently. And so we will keep you posted. The group voted unanimously that we will do a live Centennial celebration. It just may not occur on our Centennial celebration date of March 1st. So please stay posted or in the loop on that, and we'll keep you posted. We wanted a theme though for the year, regardless to COVID, and we wanted something that would be not just celebratory, but that would also propel us into the future. And so what you see, we have, and we bring to you basically as information is that our Centennial celebration theme is beginning our second century of service. And so while we will complete 100 years of service on March 1st, this is just beginning of what we know we will and can do, not just for our community, but for the world. And so again, I want to thank the committee, and you'll see that our founding date of 1921 through 2021 is also part of this theme. I will have the opportunity on Wednesday of this week to share with the Boone Rotary Club some of the work that the Centennial Committee has been undertaking, and you'll begin to see this theme and logo appear more often throughout our Rotary meetings going forward. So again, to the Centennial Committee, to the Board of Directors, and most importantly here to Carol Custer, who worked with us to find a designer to help us plan this out. Thank her for her efforts. And she did all of this work while she was out in California, addressing issues related to her mom. So again, thank you all. And Chad, that's my report.
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks to you and your entire committee and the time they're putting into this. We don't know what the future completely holds here for us next year, but we think that's certainly a good decision. So we'll be stay tuned to when we'll be celebrating our centennial. As you can see, there's also a continued announcement here. Gift baskets are now being purchased. All of our members are invited to participate if you want to. You can actually donate and then choose the organization that you want to support with gift baskets, or you can just donate to the Rotary Club of Ames Foundation, and then we will actually then spread out those non-designated financial contributions amongst the group of organizations listed there on your screen. So we're going to continue to collect this, I believe, through December 15th, I think, is our cutoff. Also, an ongoing announcement, which will be on the next slide, about the memories that people have preserved with photos of club events or meetings or people in the club. If you have those, the Centennial Committee, the Celebration Committee, is asking for those photos, and Jean Cressy has agreed to help collect those. But also, if you have them already digitally, just go ahead and forward those on to Karen, if you would. And yeah, in the next 10 minutes, if you were all part of our meeting last week, unfortunately, we had to cut short our program by our Global Grants Committee prior to hearing more about some of their upcoming projects. And so we appreciate our current program and guests. If they don't mind just holding tight for just a minute, we want to finish up last week's program. And I think I'm going to have about 10 minutes here as Dave Fox will unmute himself and talk about some of the upcoming projects of excitement by the Global Grants Committee. So go ahead, Dave.
Okay, thanks, Chad. Hopefully it won't take 10 minutes unless I talk really slow. Anyway, last week, Steve Jones brought you up to date on the success of our past and current water projects. And Glenn Ripke talked a little bit about our current milk processing plant project with the Moanga Rotary Club and some new TRF financing rules that reduces their matching funds. Now I'd like to share a little bit about what we've got in mind for the future. And I think a little history that I probably have shared with you in the past years that might help you understand our future projects. I'd like to introduce Stu Martin. Stuart and I have known each other and been friends for about 10 years as we were both on the operations team of the Water and Sanitation Rotarian Action Group. Stu is a retired attorney from Seaside, Oregon in District 5100. He's a friend and now have agreed and volunteered to be a supporter of our Tanzania projects. As I have discussed with you before, our team of WASH professionals back 10 years ago in WashRag saw that 50% of the projects done by Rotary and other churches and NGOs were not sustainable because they pretty much lacked no advanced planning. There was little stakeholder input. They provided no training. There was no spare parts supply chain and little financial planning. So we in WashRag developed a model for larger, more sustainable projects. At the same time, the Rotary Foundation was realizing this very same thing, to make their projects more impactful. And they implemented the areas of focus that we are now all familiar with, and water and sanitation was included as one of those to attain larger and more impactful and sustainable projects. Since the model we developed in WashRag was ahead of the other areas of focus, we were chosen by the foundation to implement a pilot program in 10 districts around the world. I worked with the Rotary Foundation to develop and send out program planning teams of experts to these pilot districts, 12 different sites over a period of 2 years to identify what was needed and do the required planning. Tanzania happened to be one of the districts, pilot districts that was chosen, and both the Same Rotary Club and the Moanga Rotary Club applied for and were granted one of these needs assessment studies. At that time, I selected Stu Martin to lead the team to do both of those needs assessments, and our very own Gerald Conlon was on that team that did that study back in 2013. That study identified 7 villages and prioritized them by the Same Rotary Club and other stakeholders as needing safe water supplies. The first 3 of those have been completed or are under construction. And Steve Jones outlined last week what good is being done in those villages. The others on that 7 village list have received a government-sponsored project, one of which is complete, and the other 3 are in process. So thanks to the financial support from Stu Martin's club in Seaside, Oregon, a new needs assessment has been completed by the Same Rotary Club for 7 additional villages. This assessment report, some 140 pages of excellent data, is available for any of you that would like to review it. Just let us know. It recommends an initial project to provide water, sanitation, and hygiene education to 3 villages, including the schools and the healthcare facilities in the service area. These villages, Bude, Bangalala, and Manamu, are situated so that they can all be served from a single water source. It's a very large project that may approach or exceed $1 million. Stu Martin and his group of partners want to join us and our group of partners to make this project a reality. As Glenn Ripke explained last week, the reduction in matching funds from TRF, we will all need your help and contacts you may have with other clubs and especially districts to raise the funding required for this project. Our work in Same District has been impactful and sustainable. We want to continue this process to as many villages that still do not have adequate water and sanitation as we can. We hope you will help us meet our goals. What we need are some more volunteers for our team. We need contacts from you for additional partners in the other clubs and districts around the world. And obviously, we also need cash to allow the project to happen. Karen's going to distribute, when she sends out the recording of this meeting, a short questionnaire that Jim Patton and Ben Ripke have developed to all the club members to ask you for your contacts, to ask for volunteers and for funding for this next round of projects. Please fill one of those out and return it to Glenn, and we will follow up with details. So thanks for the opportunity, Chad, and that is it. Unless somebody has a question, we have time for it.
Dave, we appreciate all that you guys have been doing, your global grants team, your leadership. We appreciate your partnerships. And there, ladies and gentlemen, was a call to action from Dave and his group. You're going to get a questionnaire. And as he mentioned, there's 3 areas that we could all jump in and help. They need volunteers for the committee and the team. They need to establish more contacts for partner clubs and partner districts. And also, as usual, financial support would obviously be welcome. So look for your survey, fill it out. Thanks for the great work, Dave, and the entire team. And at this time, I'm going to ask Kelsey to unmute herself and introduce today's program and speakers. If you would, Kelsey.
I am unmuted. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing Brad and Gina Perkins. They have founded Cultivating Hope Farms with the intent of serving families of autistic and special needs children in the central Iowa area. They are a newly formed nonprofit, 501c3. And it's actually located at Raspberry Hill Bed and Breakfast, which if you haven't been, oh my goodness, it's awesome. They are the recent recipients of the Ames Chamber of Commerce Trailblazer Award. Cultivating Hope Farms, together with local volunteers and community support, want to break the dire statistic of 80% of adults with autism being unemployed and over half of them living in poverty. So it is with great pleasure to introduce Brad and Gina Perkins. I will ask you guys to unmute now.
All right. Thank you so much for the introduction. As she alluded to, I am Brad Perkins, and this is my wife, Gina. In 2018, my wife and I started Raspberry Hill Bed and Breakfast in June of that year. And then a few months after that, one of our daughters was diagnosed with autism. She was 3 years old at the time and was nonverbal, and she continued to stay nonverbal for the next year plus. During that time, we tried normal clinical therapy, where we would take her to a therapist in a clinical type of setting. And to be honest, those attempts were total failures. She did not respond well. We were fortunate enough at that time to meet with Developmental Wellness, a very, very new business started by Kyle Dahl. And she started in-home ABA therapy, and Kaylin was her very first client. And this was, I want to say, as far as I know, Caitlin is probably the first autistic child in the state of Iowa to get in-home therapy. And the difference was profound. A child can't learn if they are too afraid. And that's what was happening with Caitlin in traditional therapy. But in addition to that, we have an acreage in Boone County where we have horses, chickens, goats, pigs, the whole thing. And one thing that we've always noticed is when she is in a more natural setting, that she is more relaxed, she is able to learn better. And in fact, the very first time she said the word mommy was out with her fuzzy friends in the horse corral at the age of 4. And she's done remarkably well since then. But now that we've been around other families in the autistic community, we find that this is a common theme. And that common theme is that a lot of autistic children react better with a natural setting rather than they do in a clinical one. And we were thinking, if this helps one child, maybe it could help others. Now, at Raspberry Hill Bed and Breakfast, we have 74 acres, but only about 5 to 10 of it is actually consumed by the business. And we were always thinking of starting a horse stable. But with this development with Caitlin, we thought, well, what if we change that model just a little bit? And we started a working farm with the focus of getting kids like Caitlin and other autistic and special needs kids the opportunity to come to a more natural setting where they could work on the farm. Because something else that we learned in this journey is that, as alluded to in our introduction, something like 80% of autistic adults are unemployed. Over half live in poverty, and that is not the outcome that we wanted for our daughter. So looking at this, and as we learned from other autistic parents, it's not necessarily that businesses don't want to hire autistic adults, but almost all of them would rather they had some work experience, training ground somewhere else first. So we were thinking, well, what kind of skills do these kids need? And looking at my other children, we have 3 boys, aged 20, 18, and 16. What are the skills that they learned, and what did they pick up? And from our farm setting, they learned things like hard work, dependability, responsibility when you're taking care of animals. Cleaning out a horse stall full of horse manure isn't exactly a glamorous job, but the job skills, show up, work hard, be responsible, are skills that relate to every job occupation. And I teach at Iowa State, and when we talk to the employers that are hiring our young engineers, they're all looking for the same skills. Somebody that's dependable, somebody that's hardworking. I think these are all things that all of us can relate to. So our goal is to start this farm, which we've just barely started, Cultivating Hope Farms. We achieved our not-for-profit status earlier this year. And our goal is to give kids the opportunity to learn these job skills in life skills, and social skills in a safe environment. And I mean safe both emotionally and physically safe, with the idea that we want them to be better prepared, not to be good farmhands, but to use those job skills that they learn while they're there and the skills that they develop to go and be successful, to get that first job opportunity when the opportunity comes. And so so far what we've been doing is we've had a few events. We've had a great response from the community. A few of the groups that have been out already, both with volunteering and some with coming to events. Organizations like Friendship Arc here in Ames, the local Boy Scout chapter. My older sons, they're in the DMAC Hunziker Career Academy Building and Trades program, and the Building and Trades class came out to build our corral, which is a fantastic help. We've gotten interest in the DMAC Ag department, and even the Drake University doctoral program is doing a class project on coming up with programming ideas for our future programs. We've had some local businesses like Kinder Music, Developmental Wellness, Bobcat of Ames, Fairway. They've all either donated in kind or donated money to build things. Fairway donated the money for the lumber that the DMAC kids put in the ground and put up. Bobcat of Ames donated an excavator so that we could dig the holes, to put in a water line and put in the columns for the corral. So we've really started to get some good community support on the volunteering side. We've also started to get some good community interest, and by interest I mean parents that are desperate for some outlet for their kids. They're wanting, they're very, very interested in programming, very, very interested in our events, and we're just starting. For example, earlier this year, we had what we would call a ranching program, where kids are able to come out, they watched a farrier work, they got a few rides on a horse, they were able to groom them and do some activities. So I've got a quick video of a couple of these activities I'm going to switch over to. If I can share my screen. And once again, always technology being what it is, we'll see if this works. Is this coming through?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on just a second. It worked in our test run. There we go.
We can see your screen now.
All right. All right, this is our ranching program. You'll see we have some volunteers leading kids and horses. There's the corral. Some of those panels were donated by local people. We had a ton of volunteers out there helping, everything from making popcorn, everything from cooking popcorn to giving rides to parking. We had lots of volunteers that day. You can see the land that we have here set aside for the Cultivating Hope Farms area. You'll also notice it's kind of low on the buildings, but we have lots of good smiles and lots of people being involved. So that was our bigger event this year. And we had over 20 volunteers and helpers come out for that day. Now, what I'd also like to show you is if we go to the Boy Scout event that we just had out here with the Ames Scouts. They came out and they're working on our chicken coop. They're camping on the land over there. You see the dirt to the right. That's our water line that we trenched in. They were out there. They spent 2 weekends building the chicken coop that you see them crawling over there. Right, it's not quite done yet, but it's a heck of a good start, and we sure appreciate their help. And if we take a look here at the overhead view, that's a good view of our horse building and the corral. Those corral panels, that's the wood that the DMAC Hunziker Academy put up. The Fairway donated the lumber for that, and Developmental Wellness donated the green horse panels. It's kind of hard to see, but they're there. In addition to this, we have a young member of the Iowa State rodeo team that's going to come out and work on building a similar small building for our pigs that we're hoping to get this spring. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of volunteer activities that we're hoping leads to a lot of good activities for our special needs community to gain the life skills that we're looking to develop. There we go. All right. So what I would like to do is Jill Crosser is the president of Cultivating Hope Farms. Vice President Jill.
But Kyle is the president of
Yeah.
what else is on.
All right, so I'm going to turn it over to her for a few minutes and let her talk about some of our financial needs.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity. I can't see how many people are on, but I see a full screen, so hopefully there's more. Thank you for listening to this. I know, as the weeks go by, we have more additions to the farm and new things are happening all the time. But as vice president of the board, I've really worked on grant writing and fundraising and building the funds that we need to move forward. And I just wanted to share some of what we've done, what footprints we've, done so far and where we're headed. And as you can imagine, starting all of this through COVID-19 and the pandemic, it's been really tough. From a fundraising standpoint, we have had some great success in some of the events that we've had out at Raspberry Hill to benefit the farm, but I think attendance has really been low because of that. We've had some socially distant events out there, but people aren't going out and about right now, which has really impacted our fundraising efforts. We have been exploring different local and state and larger grants as well, foundational grants. We have a great spreadsheet started of things to look forward to and grants to write each quarter. And we're starting to kind of look at all of those things. But what we're finding is that startups are very, very difficult to obtain funding for. A small percentage of foundations and different places want to donate to that purpose. They like to see, a couple of years worth of history, but what we are doing is so unique to this community that we feel we have a really good story to tell. A lot of the grants have also been halted for the year due to the pandemic, so that's been a bit of a challenge as well. Some of our immediate needs that we're really looking to raise funds for right now include $20,000 for electricity. We have a quote from Align Energy, and that's about right where we need to be because of where the farm is located. The barn with the ADA bathroom, we're looking at about $150,000. And when I joined the board, that number was much lower when lumber prices were lower. Sand for the arena, we're thinking around 15,000. And that's just really the start of where we're at right now. And the funds that we are raising, every penny that we raise right now is going towards that. Hopefully the video gave you an idea of what this will look like. I know the first time I went to Raspberry Hill and sat with Gina and Brad, I could see it. Everything that they were telling me about how this was going to look, I could see it. And it's been an honor to work with the board of Cultivating Hope Farms, and I'm really excited for our future. As with any new nonprofit, there are some roadblocks and some bumps along the way, but we work with a really, really committed group. So I thank you so much for your time today. And if anyone has any questions, we are here to answer them.
Here, just while all of you are formulating your questions, and like Jill said, we'd love to answer them. I just want to throw in a couple of thoughts here. Is that these kids, autistic children, as we have one, they're incredibly talented. They just need some opportunity, and they really, really need to find their gifts, and they really need to be given a chance. And the reason we're so focused on getting kids ready for that first job is that there is a dignity and a sense of purpose that comes with work. It's not just work for the sake of being able to support themselves, which is very important, but it's also work that gives them a sense of self-worth and dignity that is just lacking right now. And that's the vision that we have for my daughter, since we're obviously very close to this issue, but for all kids in this area. Now, I just saw a question and then it disappeared on me real quick. Could someone chime in and voice that question?
I can read it to you,
Yes.
Brad. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Warren Madden asked how many children with these needs live in the area that you expect to serve. So do you have an estimate of your population? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know exactly, but we could let me give you some estimates. Right now, 1 out of every 57 kids in the United States has to some level, 1 out of every 54 kids has some level of autism. If we were to go back 20 years, that number would have been about 1 in 150 to 200. Now, I'm an engineer, not a doctor. Why those rates are going up? Part of it is better diagnosis, but that doesn't explain all of it. And I don't know why that is. But if you just look at 1 out of every 54 kids in the Ames area, we're talking about hundreds of children. And in the central Iowa area, we are probably talking about thousands.
And that would be a very good question for our board president, Kyle, who owns Developmental Wellness. That is the ABA therapy we were speaking of with our daughter. She is our president of Cultivating Hope Farms. And unfortunately, she was not able to attend today. But if you would like to see those numbers, we could get those to you.
Yeah, I actually was wondering something related. What is your geographic area that you serve, and is there target age groups of your population that you serve as well?
Well, obviously, we're very close to the younger ages, but we're up to, this is a lifelong issue I see. And really what I see this is as a progression, where it would start out for little kids, just very, very basics, getting them comfortable with getting out of the house, getting them comfortable with going and doing something that is, I will admit, a little bit of a trick. They think they're going to see animals, but there is a developmental purpose behind that. At some point, this is going to be different for every child. I'd like to see them progress to doing chores. And ultimately, I'd love to see them progress to the point where they could be hired.
At Raspberry Hill.
Maybe at Raspberry Hill, maybe
maybe
they're at the farm, but ideally, they're from there to other businesses in the Ames area. Now, some kids, as they get to adulthood, probably won't ever get to that point. Some will. But I don't see this as you turned 18 and now this stops. That's not going to be us, because a lot of programs for autistic adults do stop at like 21. 18 or 21. And if they still need us, I don't want to say, well, you've aged out. So I see this as more of a lifelong, potentially, right, opportunity. We're not going to turn people away by age. I do see, and we see this with our daughter, the time to make the most impact is when the kids are the youngest. You can help the most then. So yes, we kind of have a slant towards younger children. At this point. But I see this as being an all age type of a thing. Now, as far as our area, I know autistic parents that if they've found a program that works, they'll drive from Ames to Pella. I mean, there is a little, I don't want to make this melodramatic or anything, but there is a little bit of desperation in parents with kids with autism. And I've seen them drive hours to go to a therapist that actually makes a difference.
Or program.
Or a program that makes a difference. So while I see us in the Ames, Des Moines area, I also see this as people that could be coming as far away as Pella, people coming as far away as Marshalltown, Webster City. So I see this as not a statewide perhaps, but definitely an extended reach of Central Iowa.
Well, and already we've had Friendship Arc out here, and they've been with part of our programming. They've done some things out here independently with a smaller group, not their whole group with COVID, but they have expressed that they'd like to do more out here, giving them a safe opportunity, especially with COVID now, being outside and doing some of those things. So there's like I was saying, it's not just right now we're focused because we have a little girl, but it is definitely a program we want to see at all age levels. It's just facilities we got to get on the ground to facilitate all that. Because we don't have a bathroom.
That's very helpful. Yeah. Did you see that? There's a question also from Tom Walsh, and Tom has extensive experience in the schools in Ames and ISU outreach for over 35 years, working with a significant number of children on the autistic spectrum. He's asking, how long of an intervention would your farm serve children, and does your service time depend on fees and tuition charges?
Well, here's our goal. All right. We'll see how far we get in achieving that. And the goal is that we wouldn't have a limit, like he was alluding to, an age that this would end. Now, my fear, based on all of the response and all the questions that have already been sent our way, this is going to be tough because we have a massive amount of need and demand, and like with anyone, limited resources. I really fear that we're going to have to turn kids away. Like just this weekend, we had a mom call. She drove all the way to Pella for some horseback riding and hippotherapy. And she noticed, or she even said that her child's first words were while he was on the horse. She can't find services like that around here. So in her, yeah,
it's a long wait.
It's a long wait. And in her kind of need, she purchased a horse, but unfortunately, the woman just doesn't have any knowledge or background in horses, and she bought one that is definitely not up for the task. And I'd hate, she's a little bit of desperation. So I would like to see us be able to have the knowledge of animals to provide that, so that parents don't get desperate and end up trying to do things by themselves.
Yeah, thank you. Other questions for our guest today, Brad, Gina, or it looks like Jill's still with us as well. Are there other questions? So it sounds like this might be a little unique in what you're building here, obviously because of some of the environment that you maybe one would traditionally expect to see, to help people on the autism spectrum, but this might be a bit unique, and it's maybe a little bit more challenging to start something unique as you're doing in a pandemic year. And so that brings about its own challenges.
It does, and it is unique. However, it's unique here. There are examples of this in other parts of the country. There's a foundation near Washington, D.C. that Madison House that we're in communication with, and we are going to be copying some of their programs. So they focus on adults more. Which we will, but they're basically doing the same thing. They are taking autistic adults and giving them job skills in a ranch type of a setting, a barn type of a setting. In a residential. They even go so far as to do residential, which is maybe someday we could get there. We're still working on our first barn, but man, they have a fantastic program. they're seeing the results and the opportunities that it's creating in these
For
young
adults.
adults' lives. We're like, wow, you know, we want to get there. We want to get there. And in an agricultural state like Iowa, I just think there's tons of opportunity here. So I'm sorry, I saw a question. Chad, could you read that question for me?
Absolutely. Liz Beck asks, currently in the population you're serving, do you see friendships being developed amongst the youth that you serve, but also amongst the parents of the youth that you serve, also getting connected?
Well, for example, every Friday, we've kind of stopped since the pandemic has gotten a little worse than the number wise. We would have a free program out here. It was more homeschool based every Friday from 10 to noon. Majority of those kiddos that were coming were typical children, but there was my autistic daughter that was joining in, and seeing that opportunity with all coming together on all different levels. The farm is a level playing ground. And seeing that relationship being built between the kiddos is so natural. They love coming out and play as a great uniter. And seeing that become and be very fruitful and blooming into this really beautiful relationship among these kiddos has been one of the fruits of that program. And because relationship building is huge. Isolation for autistic kiddos is also in adulthood is phenomenally high. A lot of these kids are just turned into adults. They're suffering from TVs. And that's not a realm that is healthy for anybody. I mean, look at today, we're all typically doing more of that, sitting in front of a TV and getting socially isolated. It's not a healthy mindset. So mental health for all on the farm has been very rewarding, seeing on that Friday program with these kiddos and these parents. They're able to fellowship on a safe, we have 25 acres at Cultivating Hope Farms for hiking. We've went fishing, we've done crafts, we've done some sports activities. And there again with sports, autistic kiddos don't have a typical place to go do those sports. This week we're talking to Courage League down in Des Moines, and they help give opportunities for all kiddos to have that sports opportunity. And I contacted them. They're meeting with us at the board on Tuesday to do some more outdoor sports things, like we have a pond. So they said, well, let's partner up maybe and do some outdoor sports activities with these kiddos. And I said, that sounds great. So we're really reaching out in the community. We don't want to be alone in this. This is a big project. And, with the other nonprofits, Friendship Arc, hopefully Courage League, the Madison House Foundation, and others, and gaining that knowledge that they have and coming together as a team to do this very unique program and joining the community, our volunteers, a lot of our people that are involved are also in the licensed professionals like ABA, occupational therapy, physical therapy, Kinetic Edge just across the road. They are instrumental in potentially doing something with us this coming spring and having their clients over on the farm doing occupational therapy or physical therapy. So we have a huge opportunity here. It's because we have the land, we have the location. It's just getting those resources to get. We all need we need electricity. That's a big one, and ADA compliant bathroom. We've had porta potties out here, but they're not really the most ideal. So those are some things that are really holding us from being able to do our projected vision in a bigger way.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure you're probably aware of the Ames Miracle Park and Playground up
Yes.
at Innis Grove.
Hey,
yeah.
As
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, earlier a few years ago, we had a son that was in a wheelchair. Between having Caitlin with special needs and my son that was in the wheelchair, I can't tell you how much an environment like that means, that's meant to be inclusive. And I just want to commend you for that, to have the vision
Getting them
for
out of
that.
isolation.
Because we know if you look at if you were to look closely at our corral, just as an example, we had to make it safe, not just for the animals, but also for the kids. You can't tell from that overhead video, but it's way more expensive than a normal corral would be because of the materials we had to use on it. Like, for example, narrow gauge fencing that a kid can't get their heads through. that added to the cost. And I don't know much about the cost of your project, but I know as an engineer, but also as a parent of special needs kids, anytime you make a facility to be more accessible, it costs more. And that takes dedication. I commend you for doing that. That's
Absolutely.
an awesome project.
Looking forward to go seeing it.
Yeah, no, it's open now to the public, thankfully, and the city is running that. They've turned it over to the city, so that's good. Thank you. One more question. Oh, no, congratulations on your program efforts. Best wishes for success. Jeff Johnson also says, thanks for addressing the social skills and for using the cards that you've been dealt as a solution to others. So thanks for creative innovation. So everyone here is just supportive of you and what you're doing. Go ahead and keep fighting that good fight. And if people want to get more involved, I'm assuming they could go to the website. There'd be a phone number or an email that they could learn more and talk to someone.
Absolutely. Our Facebook page is probably the best. It's got the most current pictures and videos and up-to-date information. So I encourage you to go to our Facebook page. We have a GoFundMe going. Encourage you to take a look at that as well. Those are good starts. And Chad, if you or any of your group wants to come out for a tour, right, let me know. We're close. We would love to show you around and give you a feel for it. I always think an in-person visit really helps understand the type of program and the magnitude of what's going on, and also those see the potential of what could be.
Awesome. Thank you. And I know you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I can't see who's speaking. I just wanted to say one more thing. Tomorrow is also Giving Tuesday, and we had a volunteer create a T-shirt for the for Cultivating Hope Farms, and we will be posting that out to our Facebook page as well tomorrow for a little bit more exposure, and it's got the logo Together We Can on there as well.
Awesome. So initially, everyone just go out and like that Facebook page, Cultivating Hope Farms. And thanks again for sharing your story with us, and best of luck. And hopefully we'll get some people here who want to jump in and roll up their sleeves and help out as well. Next week, our meeting, we have Letitia Kennemer representing the ISU Workspace. So that'll be our program next week. And at this time, we'll go ahead and recite our four-way test. If Karen will put it up on the screen for us all here. There it is. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendship? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week, and go Cyclones.